So we've gone through hero setup, and then we're going to talk about the realm. If you're coming from the previous video, then you know we've moved into the tile and it's time to populate the tile. And so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the legend and move left to right and populate the tile like we would.
Alright, so the first thing there is a quest icon. So that means we must draw a quest. So let me draw a quest here, and here's the quest that we got, which is Rescue My Daughter. I'm going to talk a little bit about what each of these sections are. Okay, so here's the very first part on the top is the title of the quest. So this is Rescue My Daughter, and this is the it has one link, so it's the first chain of this quest. The next section you'll have is some flavor text, which kind of explains the story to any would-be heroes. The next area in gray is the setup, and this is how we're going to set up the realm tile. We'll talk about it a little bit more later, but the following area is for rewards, and then there's the positive reward, which is shown by a green serendipity symbol, and a negative reward, which is by a red darkness symbol. And then at the bottom here you have a positive resolution text and negative resolution text.
So we have our quest, we're going to set it to the side, and we're going to use the quest setup to populate the tile first before we move on to the next, the rest of the legend. And so it says we have to have one layer and it has to be a crawler. So we're going to go ahead and grab the crawler layer and we're going to place it. Now there is on tiles, on every tile there is a purple area where you can populate things. We could, as long as this layer is in the middle of this purple area, we are good, and we can just kind of put it where we want to put it. Because we're kind of gluttons, we're going to put that layer right in the middle of the bridge. And with 2 players, we can look at the back of the book, the quick reference section, and with 2 players, it's a crawler layer. There are 7 crawlers.
Alright, so when you're choosing the colors you're going to put out, what we typically do is we place more melee than we do ranged. This is not a hard and fast rule. If you want to play with all melee crawlers, you can. We provide the numbers that is fair for the amount of players playing. So in our case, we're going to put 4 melee, 3 ranged, but maybe we mix it up. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the number.
And in this case, the blue areas marked by the water prevent any creatures from being placed in those locations. You have line of sight, but you can't move through it. And so we would put these 7 adjacent. If we needed to put more, we would fill all the adjacent spots and then start to populate those spots multiple spaces away. It's one of the reasons why we selected this tile, so you could see. Now, as heroes, we're going to have to fight through this and destroy the lair before we even can come close to the crawlers, unless we move around or we use one of our movements to go over. The next thing we need to do is to place the Lucy token next to the lair under a web token, and then the heroes have 5 hero cycles to rescue Lucy.
Alright, so now if we look at the other parts of the quest, we have to place the Lucy token, which I'm going to do. It's still adjacent to the layer, even though it's, diagonal from it. And then it says to place a web token on top of Lucy because, she's captured by the crawlers. So in order to free Lucy from this, we are going to need to move on top of the Lucy token, spend 1 movement point to interact with objects, and it'll be removed. And
we could have placed this Lucy token.
Let's just say here.
We could absolutely do this. There's nothing. We have met all the criteria of the quest and of the lair. Every creature's adjacent. We could absolutely do that if we wanted to.
But since we're gluttons for punishment, we're putting it in the back corner.
Right.
Alright, so the final part of the quest setup for this particular quest is the heroes have 5 hero cycles to rescue Lucy. So we're going to track this by putting one of the white flames here, and you can use the damage area for tracking time. And it's in the 5th location. Every time we get done with the hero cycle, this is going to move down 1. And if we can't get to Lucy, interact with the web on top of her token, then the crawlers are going to devour, and we're going to go to the negative resolution of this text.
Now this area on the darkness board, it says damage, but it's just used to track all kinds of things. It's used to track layer damage. It's used to track mini-boss damage, boss damage, captain damage, and in this case it's going to track hero cycle. We use a threat token because anything with vitality is going to have blood tokens. At this point we've set up the quest. This is what's required for the quest. Now we go back to the legend, and it says this tile maximum can have 2 layers. So we've taken care of 1 layer. If we wanted to, we can place another layer out there. But we're not going to do that. We're choosing not to do that. If we were heroes with a couple titles or a couple pieces of gear that we're keeping, maybe we would do that. But in this case, we're not. So this 1 layer meets this requirement, which takes us to the next legend, part of the legend on the 12x12, which is the hunting pack. It's a question mark, which means we can put the hunting pack out if we want. In this case, I think we want to, right?
Yeah, we can.
So let's go ahead and throw some grubbers out there. Now, we could have done crawlers or grubbers or any other monster we wanted to. And as far as a hunting pack goes, it still needs to go into the purple, and it needs to be at least 1 person, at least 1 monster into the purple. The rest can kind of hang out. And a hunting pack is between 3 and 8. So we're going to add a hunting pack, and how do we want to add it? Let's go ahead and make it really bad for us.
I like the sounds of that.
Yeah, so we're going to add a hunting pack of 4 grubbers, and we've met the quest criteria, the layer criteria, and we chose the optional hunting pack, which brings us to the last thing, which is the treasure. And in this case, there are 6 treasures.
Alright, so now if you look at the darkness board, there's a location that has little slots for treasures, right? And when we looked at the legend, the 12x12 can handle 6 treasures as a maximum. So I'm going to put the treasure tokens into these locations. Alright. Now this is here so that when a hero generates treasure, whether that's by killing a captain, destroying a layer, or killing 3 minions in 1 blow, you will remove a treasure token from the darkness board and place it in the appropriate location. Once these are all gone, no more treasures can be generated on this tile.
So now everything on this tile is now set up. Our heroes have entered. The minute we stepped in, we had to populate it. We've selected the quest. We've decided on the layers. We decided on the hunting pack, and the treasures are placed there. We have the timer up on the darkness board to rescue Lucy, and we have the success or failures based off this quest. So now we're basically ready to draw our 5 cards if we haven't, and get to play in this game and creating the story we want to create.